With my childhood.
With
yes.
your accent.
Oh yes, well.
Everybody presumes you must be Scottish.
Yes, we are indeed. Yes, all the band are Scottish. It's.
So where were you brought up?
Well, I was brought up in a town called Dunfermline in Scotland, which is where I still live. I mean, well, we live near Dunfermline. Everybody in the band was brought up there. I think that's the reason why we stayed together so long, because we all had the same sort of background. We all went to the same schools and stuff. I mean, I went to school with people, the bass player when I was 5 years old. Sat next to him in school, and I guess we've been friends ever since. And Darryl and Manny, I met when I was a teenager, because we were interested in bands because we couldn't play football, basically, and we were interested in music, and we all played in different bands, and eventually got together as Nazareth. But Scotland's, well, from our hometown now, there's Big Country as well as from Dunfermline. It's producing quite a few bands these days, that have went large, like Simple Minds and quite a few people.
Do you have an answer to that? Why there are just the era of Dunfermline?
Simple Minds are from Glasgow, and I think the reason why a lot of new bands, good young bands, are coming out of Britain now is because of unemployment. I mean, well, the classic example is UB40. I mean, the guys met at the dole. A UB40 is the form you sign to get your unemployment money. And the kids had nothing to do. And they're bright, intelligent kids, and they just can't find work because there is no work,
But on the other hand, just unemployment doesn't make you such musical talents. Oh no.
What I think it does, though, is... I'm not promoting unemployment. I think it's a terrible thing. But it's... these kids, they found they had nothing to do all day, and they met other guys that played in, that had played instruments too, and they thought, well, we might as well form a band. At least it's something to do, Just sitting sort of watching TV all day and makes you rubber in the head, So I think a lot of the reason is that, the kids don't have jobs and,
Okay, but your first contact with music, I presume, was not rock and roll at all. Oh no,
I mean, when I was a kid, my father was a naval man, and he'd travelled quite a bit, and he brought back a lot of old blues stuff and jazz stuff from America, and people like Joss White and Nellie Luxor and Billie Holiday and things like that, And I mean, I thought that's what everybody listened to, And of course, when you go to your friend's house, they were listening to Andy Stewart and Kenneth McKellar and things like that. It's like, what, So I suppose I was quite lucky that way. And then, I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother, and my sisters were fans of people like Johnny Ray and things like that. And Pete's mum and dad used to listen to things like Tennessee Ernie Ford and Jim Reeves, things like that, And Jim Reeves was a bit hip for them, actually. It was Tennessee Ernie was their main man, And people like Slim Whitman and Frankie Lane, I guess, were, when I was very small, they were the hit records. And then Presley, came out, and that was it. It all turned around for me. That was who I wanted to be, I guess.
So when you decided to, or when did you make up your mind to do a band, perform in a band?
The thing was, we were kids and we were music fans, and we started, I got into people like Chuck Berry and Otis Redding, and, because like the British pop scene at that time was really terrible. Things like Mark Winter, and really bad, But so most of the music was American, and most of it was black, really. And then, we started just gigging around, because we were friends and we decided to form a band. And it was the Shadettes. We had the Shadettes for a while. And, we just used to do cover versions, everybody's songs. And then, of course, the Beatles came out, and that was another, what? So, and then things started to really happen in Britain. There was like loads of good music starting to happen. Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart, the original Beck band, and, people like Joe Cocker and Led Zeppelin, and, that was really, there was a lot going on, Spooky Tooth and a lot of good stuff,
So could you say that there was a specific day when...
Not really. It started off, what were once hobbies are now vices, It was like, it started off really just as a hobby, just, you know, things that we like to do. And then we actually started getting good at it, you know, and people would, you know, we could get gigs and that, you know, like. So we started playing around Scotland. I mean, we worked during the day, we were just playing at night, but at that time as well, it was pre-disco days. So there was a lot of like dance halls and rock clubs and stuff, which don't exist anymore. You know, so young bands are really struggling to get to play live, you know. And you know, we used to play around Scotland, and we started getting quite a good reputation. I mean, we were selling places out, and you know, it was getting quite good. So we got offered to go professional, you know. So at that time we had all had jobs and that. So we thought, yeah, let's give it a year and see what happens anyway, you know. So we went down to London and made our first album, Nazareth. And basically then we just played everywhere. We had electricity for like 2 years till eventually we got a hit, you know. And ever since then it's been pretty much the same. We make records and play every place with electricity. Except we've been doing it for like 15 years now, or 17 years, wow.
And you're still playing hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we play rock and roll. I mean, that's what we've always played.
And now the days are, well, you could say they went back to the old days. So hard music is
oh sure,
back
I mean,
again.
see, I think kids need rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like you see the amount of young heavy metal bands there is, right? Which I don't necessarily approve of, but these kids have got that energy. I mean, they have to do something with it, and that's why that type of music, there'll always be something like that, because kids want it. I mean, like punk was just the same. It was just energy, and you know, kids saying, I don't care what you like, this is what I like, you know. And I mean, you know.
But then, didn't you never wanted to do an album just with slow ballads? With
oh, sure, we've done a lot of slow stuff. You've done
on every
sure.
record. There's one or two of them.
Yeah, we do
the
different.
whole album strictly on ballads.
No, I wouldn't like to do that. I mean, because I like energy myself. I mean, I like to do different things, because I think the reason that we've lasted as long as we have with our fans and stuff is because we have tried different things. Some of them worked and some of them didn't, you know. But I think at least we didn't get bored, and our fans didn't get bored. I mean, a lot of fans went, "Oh, what are you doing that for? Boo," you know. But other people went, "Yeah, that's quite good," you know. So I mean, you can only do what you think is good, and then other people have to make up their own mind about that. Then you know. But that's what we've always done, and I think it's worked out well for us, you know. Well, we've made plenty of mistakes, sure, but I mean.
Don't you find? Let's talk about the new album now. Just the title song, Cinema. When you sing about cruelty, about
sex and violence, and
bestiality,
and Superman, and because that's, I mean, the song.
I mean, you sing against that.
Oh yeah,
but, I mean, a lot of people think that hard rock.
Oh,
well, not that much hard rock, but more the heavy metal stuff. So it's just the stuff which produces things like that.
Yeah, see, well, the thing is, though, I mean, it's funny, I was reading recently, they did a study in somewhere in California, and they're putting kids that are, you know, have got into trouble, they're putting them on probation, and they're not allowed to go to see rock concerts, and they're not allowed to listen to heavy metal and stuff like that, you know. And a couple of professors from the University of California did a survey with 200 kids that are on probation, and they listed 662 songs or something, and they asked them what their favourite song was about, and most of them didn't know what the song was about. They just liked the tune, and most of the girls liked it because it was good to dance to. So I mean, really, I mean, I think critics of music take music much more seriously than the people that play it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think...
then otherwise you don't have to write words to it.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, I mean, I thought Boots of Spanish Leather was a wonderful song.
Well,
the lyrics were incredible.
It
still is, right? But I also thought Bamalama Bamaloo was a great song, and I thought Tutti Frutti was a great song.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it depends on the type of thing you're doing. And, I mean, I think to break it down that much is, I mean, there obviously is bands that go for that, the whole, you know, devil worship bit and all that. But I mean, I think it's a very small percentage of people that take it seriously. It's like it's a very small percentage of people that go out and buy a gun and shoot somebody just because they go off their head, you know. I don't think that's music that does that. I think it's our society that does that. You know, I mean, I don't really think because somebody listened to any particular song that made them do something, you know. I don't believe it anyway, you know.
Okay, another song which from your new album which struck me very much, because maybe I like the ballads more than the hard stuff. But of course the veteran song.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that, well I think that most of the, let's say, hard rock groups are at the best when they're doing ballads?
Well, I think...
Do you have an explanation for that?
Well, I think, you see, the veteran song's a very soulful song, and I think most rock bands, as such, try to be soulful, you know? And sometimes it just comes across better when it's slow, because there's not all that rush getting in your way, you know what I mean? And I think every song, you have to treat every song as a separate song, you know? And I mean, to do the veteran song like Black Dog or something just wouldn't have worked, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just so, I think you have to treat the songs as such. And the veteran song's really about, well, veterans. Because, I mean, it's funny, with us not being American, but being there a lot, it's like, when you're a visitor to a place, you sometimes get a better impression than people that live there. Because, like, people that live there just get used to where they live, you know. And we know a lot of guys that ended up working for us, you know, like driving trucks and road crews and stuff, that had been to Vietnam. And these guys will be confused for the rest of their lives. I mean, it's really sad, because they went there as naive boys, you know, and they didn't know what was going on. I mean, they didn't know where it was half the time, you know. And they came back after seeing what they'd seen, which must be awesome. I mean, it must just be horrendous. And they got a hard time on the way home, you know. It must have been like, oh shit, you know. It must have been very difficult. And that's basically what the song's about. It's like, don't give these guys a hard time. They didn't know what they were doing. Well, 90%, I mean, sure, the generals and the politicians and all, they knew what they were doing, but your ordinary grunt, you know, your cannon fodder did not know what was going on.
So would you say that Nazareth is, by the way, do you pronounce it Nazareth?
Nazareth.
Do
you want me to?
No, thanks. Do you think, or would you say that you're in a way a political band?
Not really, because...
Well, not party political, I don't mean that way. But,
oh, sure, I mean, you obviously... with sure, you have to, I mean, most rock songs reflect the time that you live in. You know, I mean, I know that's been said before and it's very cliched and that, but I mean, it's true. Most people write about things that affect their lives or that they see happening.
But more or less, most of the rock songs then reflect love.
That's it. You know, I mean,
lost love, found love,
that's
new
it.
love.
New love, old love, blue love, green love.
But there aren't so much, except of those, maybe of singer-songwriters, which reflect veterans. Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
These are outstanding.
Yes, well, I think there are times in your life that you do feel strongly about something, you know, and that you should say something about it. Supposing people agree with you or disagree with you. I mean, that's how I felt about it when I did the song, and it was like, that's still how I feel about it, you know. So I think it should be said that that's how I feel about this, you know.
So what's the song you like best from your new album?
I like Cinema.
You like Cinema?
I do, because I think it's the only media nowadays left that can be total fantasy. You know, like cinema, you can do anything you like. I mean, it might not be to everybody's taste, and you might not agree with it, but you can make a film about anything. You know, from Love Story to the Chainsaw Massacres. You know, and somebody somewhere will dig it. You know what I mean?
But then you can do that with music too.
Oh yeah, but I mean, music's...
You can do a video.
But video was like...
Have you ever thought of doing a Nazareth film?
Oh, we did a live one, a concert one.
Yeah, no, I mean a real, like, let's say, like one of these old Beatles films.
No, really, because that's why we hate videos. We're awful actors. I mean, actors are actors, you know, and rock singers are rock singers.
Yeah, of course. But
And it's like, I mean, there are people that can carry it off, like David Bowie and people like Sting, and who are excellent at it, you know.
have you ever tried, really? I mean,
Yes, I mean, we've done videos, and I always feel like a prat, you know, when they say, "Look shocked, Dan," you know, and they go, "No, not lost, look shocked," you know. It's like, I feel terrible, you know. It's like, I'd rather just be playing in a band, you know.
maybe you should try. What's that? Comedian? Yeah.
Oh, we are all comedians, that's what I mean. You have to be a comedian to play in a rock band. But, like, to me, cinema is still the media that, I mean, like the Star Wars movies, like, for instance, just take one example, you know. I mean, that was a thing that, I mean, I take my kids to see the Star Wars movies, and I enjoy them as much as they do. I'm sure I do. You know, I mean, I don't come out and want to be Luke Skywalker, but I mean, they do. You know what I mean? But then I used to come out and want to be, you know, whoever the heroes were, you know, James Dean or something, you know. Yeah. But like, it's still the media that's still fantastic. You know, like everything about the media is fantastic. I mean, most of the people that are in it are crazy, and you know, there's maybe about, for every 1,000 film people, there's maybe 5 with talent, you know, and the rest are just actors, you know, just like, oh, you know, God, you know what I mean? There's just so many chancers in it, and it's like, you know, they have these like mega, you know, the film only cost $60 million, you know. It's like, what? Do you know how much money that is, you know, for like 45 minutes, an hour and a half a movie, you know? It's crazy, you know.
So would you say that your album Cinema is a cinema?
Well, it is, because I think, I mean,
every song is a film for itself.
it is. I mean, every song is a little story anyway, or it should be, you know.
Yeah.
And I suppose it is. It's just a thing that everybody's conscious of. I mean, if you sit and listen to anybody talking, like if you're in a company of people, eventually at some point in the night, people will talk about movies. I mean, they will. I mean, you could be discussing like something really serious and say, "Oh, by the way, have you seen the new? Have you seen Highlander? Have you seen? It's really good." Or you know, like my favourite actor, for instance, is Jack Nicholson. You know, which is like, I mean, I can't see how anybody doesn't like Jack Nicholson acting, and yet people go, "I don't like him. He's weird." You know, and say, "Yeah, you know, of course he is."
By the way, have you seen Highlander?
No, I haven't seen Highlander. When we were recording the album in Detroit, Manny and Pete went to see it. But we were working that night, Dal and I were working. And it was one of these things I was always going to go and see, and I never got to see it. But I think it's just out in Britain, so I think I'll go and see it.
Let's talk a bit about your solo project. As far as I remember, I think I bought some years ago a solo album.
1975 it was made.
Something about that.
Yeah.
And I like that very much.
I still did that.
I still do.
Uh-huh.
And what struck me was really different from the music you do with Nazareth.
Oh, sure.
It was more ballad.
Yeah.
Although you say you're in for.
Oh, I mean, I had. Oh, yeah, but I mean, it did have things like a Sam and Dave song on it, and you know, but it was just all my favourite songs, really. You know, like that I was a fan of.
So that was best of.
That was like
best of life.
This is what Dan McCafferty likes.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, it was fun to do because it was like, well, I had a month off because Pete's wife was having a baby at the time, and it was like done with good friends. It was people like the Alex Harvey band, you know, Zal Clemens and Roger Glover played bass, and it was fun. It was like good friends, and they were a real good band as well. And it was all done pretty much live off the floor, you know, and it was good. It worked out really well.
So aren't you a bit, or let's say it another way, if you had the chance of turning the clock back to, let's say, 75, would you do it again?
Yes, probably.
Would you start all over again with Nazareth, the whole thing? Would
Oh,
you do
aye.
all the...
Oh, sure.
You wouldn't change anything?
Oh, there's things you'd change, obviously, like, you know, I'd want to get more hit records and stuff like that. And there's a couple of managers that I'd rather not have seen in my life, but I mean, that's just life, you know, I mean...
But then Well, I mean, I think when you started the producing thing, it was more or less you've been in the studio, you could see all your chaps you played with, and nowadays it's maybe you get a tape. One of them had his on, the other plays.
Well, see,
it's not music anymore.
When we did cinema, though, that's what we decided to do. We went out to Detroit 3 weeks early, and we rehearsed the numbers for 3 weeks. Just went into an old studio, you know, a place that had been a studio, and all the equipment had been taken out, and just set up equipment and just played all the numbers for free. And if we couldn't play it live, it didn't go on the album.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think the album's got a certain
it has quite a lot of
ethnic
energy.
Sort of, you know, energy on it, you know, which, and it's something we'd definitely do again, you know. But getting back to the solo thing that I'm doing just now, is it started off, it wasn't even planned to be an album. It was when Hans was doing Noel Suite, they wanted someone Scottish to sing a Scottish Sally Mary on it, right? So they sent me the tape, and I mean, I get a lot of tapes in the mail, you know, do you want to come and sing this now? And most of them are really bad, you know. But I really liked the song. I thought, oh, it's a nice song, you know. So I came out to Hamburg and did that. And then about 6 months later, Christoph decided that he wanted to do an English version of it, you know. And he said, would you sing it? I said, aye, sure, you know. So we managed to get dates and everything together, and I came out again and did the rest of the tracks, and we were just sitting talking. And he says, have you got, you know, any new material lying around that, you know, that Nazareth obviously won't use? And I said, oh, sure, I've got dozens of it, you know. So I played him some of the tapes, and he says, oh, that's it, man. He says, let's, you know, do a whole album, you know. Mm-hmm. So basically that's what we decided to do. And of course we had to fit it in between his gigs that he's doing and like the Nazareth gigs, and it's worked out really quite well. I mean, it's taken like a year. I mean, it's only taken like 3 weeks to do, but it's taken a year to get it all, you know. No, I can't come this weekend because I'm in, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, but it's good, and it was nice working with other musicians, especially ones that don't speak your language, you know.
Why then?
Well, because it was like, the only thing you really had in common was the music, you know. It was like, and it was, you know, like, I mean, Kurt Kress plays drums on it, and a guy called Michael Hagler, Michael Hagel, sorry, was like the arranger and the keyboard player and stuff. And they're really good people, I mean, really nice to work with, and it was all, you know, written out, scored music, like, get in and play a bit, and it was good, it was fun to do. And it was, you know, it wasn't the same kind of, what's the word, pressure, like making a Nazareth album. It's just, you know, songs that you like. And
so what did you do with the Scottish ballad on Noel Suite? Did you do a German ballad?
No, I think we're just going to keep that one on there. You know, just going to get another.
Runs again. Yeah, Noel Suite. So one side of the album will be the Noel Suite.
Yes.
But shorter, I presume, than the
there'll be songs not in it. But I mean, most of the stuff will be on it, you know.
And what will be on the other side then?
As songs that
you wrote?
Yeah, basically, well, me and Pete from the band, Pete Agnew and I. And one song that Pete and I and Christoph Busser wrote together. That would be good.
Will that be more ballads or more high energy songs?
There's a ballad on it. No, there's a song on it called, pardon me, Starry Eyes, which is a...
You know, by the way, who's Juliet?
Eh?
Who's Juliet?
Juliet, well, you know, I'm not saying anything. The wife might be listening.
Maybe you could say it in German, but she won't understand.
But, it's good. It's nice songs. It's that they're obviously different from.
When will the album be out?
It won't be till next year, I guess. January, February, maybe. You know.
That late.
Well, the Nazareth album's coming out now, so I don't want to, you know, cause any waves. There's a couple of quite funny songs on it as well. We've got humour. There's one called Backstage Pass, which is quite interesting. If you're in the business, I mean, I think you'll get a smile out of it, you know. And there's a song called For a Car, which is about, when we were kids in Scotland, nobody had a car. You know, it was funny for us because it was like, well, when we first went to the States, everybody had a car. I mean, it might have been an old clanger, but kids had cars. Well, they have to have them because everything's a million miles apart. But in Scotland, I mean, if you had a car, man, you were the cock of the walk, you know, no sweat. And it's just a bit like, if I had a car, man, I could really pull chicks. Because it's like, I mean, it's what we had to do when we were kids. It was like you had to take chicks to the bus stands, you know. It's like, bye, darling.
Would you change your life? Would you say that your lifestyle has changed a lot from not being a star to being a star? When you earned a lot of money then?
Well, yes, it did, and it didn't. If you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, I don't think my basic values have changed, you know. But it's funny, people react differently to you. Mm-hmm. You know, like friends that I've known all my life, you know. Like, all of a sudden, some of them got a bit strange, you know, like a bit anti, and other ones were great, you know. So, I mean, different people react in different ways to it. And I think what worries me most of all is, like, sometimes you say something in jest, you know, and somebody from the media will just take it and say, Dan McCafferty said, you know, and you go, no, I didn't say that at all, you know, but it's too late then, you know, so you tend to have to be very careful about, you know, about what you say. Because being Scottish or being British, basically, British humour is very cruel. Yeah. You know, I mean, it really is, you know, it's like...
Black.
It's very black humour. Like, when we were doing this record just now, like, we're working with these German musicians, and they're lovely guys and great players and that. And Pete and I would say, you know, we'd get a really great take on something, and Pete and I would go, yeah, that's pretty average. And these guys would go, average? I thought it was great, you know. You're going, oh, we mean it's great, you know. It's just, you know, it's like, you know, you know, it's like, it's getting brought up on Monty Python. You see this? Does your head in?
And spitting images.
And spitting images, wonderful. Man. The puppets are fabulous.
Would you say that your favourite meal has changed from days gone up to now? Well, let's say, what is your special meal, your favourite meal now?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty much a meat and two veg man, I guess, you know. I mean, it's... But, I mean, I must admit, because you travel a lot, you try things you'd never have tried at home, you know. Mainly because there's no restaurant, like, there's very few Japanese restaurants in Dunfermline. You know what I mean?
You like Japanese
I love Japanese food.
So you like sushi or something?
Sushi I have to be in the mood for, you know what I mean? It's like if you've been drinking a lot the night before, sushi is not a good thing to have to get up and eat, you know. But, I mean, I can enjoy it, sure. But I like, you know, most kinds of food now, because you have to.
But you wouldn't say that you have a special meal?
No, really.
So you got the chance, you put your hands on it.
Right, I mean, there's times, like, when you're on the road in the States, you know, and you're living in hotels all the time, man, right? And hotel menus begin to look exactly the same, you know. So you eventually, you know, after 6 weeks, you're going, what would you like, sir? Oh, just bring me something, you know, anything, you know. And that's when you start to think, like, you know, see the steak pie the wife makes, that's really good, you know. And I mean, like, simple things like a corned beef sandwich, you know. Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff, you know. I mean, it is, though. It's just like, you know, a tin of Heinz baked beans, you know. You know.
Another thing, what do you do when you're not on stage, when you're not touring, when you're not in a studio, when you're private? I don't mean when you're really private.
Right, I know
what do you do when you're relaxed? What do you do for relaxing?
I like to play golf.
What's your handicap?
Oh, the clubs are my handicap. I'm a terrible golfer. But I enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, there's three of us in the band play, Pete and Darryl and myself. We play in a friend of ours from Edinburgh, Jim. And we go out, I mean, this year we've played 3-4 times maybe, you know, because we've been busy. But it's just fun, because, I mean, we're all bad, you know. And it's like, but I guess you go out and you play 9 holes and you have a couple of pints and you play another 9 holes, and it's like, yeah, it's, you know, and it's probably the only fresh air we get, you know. I quite like fishing as well. I take my son fishing, and it's good because you just sit there, you know, take a camera with me, you know.
So you do a lot of photography?
And, you know, just a bit. I mean, no big deal, you know, but you can take a few shots, got some nice shots, you know. And mainly sort of family stuff, you know, like good shows. You know.